Can people just disappear spontaneously into thin air? Well, there have been a number of cases where this exact thing has happened, and in front of multiple witnesses. These are the accounts of the Spontaneous Vanishers. Orion Williamson was an Alabama farmer who, in the summer of 1854, simply vanished into thin air in front of his wife and his son, as well as their neighbours Alma Wren and his son James. The Wrens were passing the Williamsons' house in a buggy on a glorious sunny afternoon. They saw Orion and his family relaxing on their porch. They were watching horses graze in their distant field. Orion decided to head towards the field where the horses were to tell the farm worker to move the horses into a shaded area. On walking over, Orion idly picked up a stick and casually swished it along the grass as he walked forward. When the Wrens passed by, they waved hello to Orion as he walked into the field. As Orion waved back, he moved forward and suddenly disappeared without a trace. Wren then rushed to the spot where Orion disappeared, soon joined by Orion's family, but found no trace of him anywhere. In the shock, Mrs. Williamson fainted and had to be taken to the local hospital. When word got around about Orion's strange disappearance, around 300 people from the town gathered together to help search for him. They even used bloodhounds, but to no avail. They then dug the area where he vanished, but again no trace of Orion Williamson was ever found. The following spring, investigators returned to the site and found a strange, barren, dry patch of grass where Orion last stood. Mrs. Williamson added that she and her son kept hearing Orion's voice calling out for help for weeks after he vanished, but as they ran to that spot, he wasn't there. Over time, his voice would fade away. James Bourne Warson thought himself one of the most athletic men in Warwickshire. So when his friends challenged him to run from Leamington to Coventry, he readily accepted. Little did he realise this race would be his last. The challenge was straightforward. He'd run the distance as quickly as he could, all the while being followed by the two men on a horse and cart. On the evening of September 3rd, 1873, the race began. It started innocently enough. His friends followed to ensure he stayed the course, while Warson jogged ahead of them. He cracked jokes and laughed on the way, and the two men occasionally cheered him on. But then something happened. Warson appeared to trip or lose his footing. He stumbled forward. He gave out a curdling scream as his friends watched in horror. Warson fell forward to the ground, and before even touching earth, seemed to blink out of existence. He disappeared before their eyes. They immediately stopped the carriage and inspected the area where James Warson had existed only moments before, but they found no trace, only footprints in the dirt, and then nothing. He was never seen again. So what happened to Warson? Did he transport into another realm? Did he slip through a tear in the universe into a parallel world, or on a voyage through time? Whatever the case, many claim this a true account of an individual mystery vanishing out of existence. But there's also others who claim it's also part of a fantastic story. Many feel it's just a work of fiction by the author Ambrose Bierce, who published the original short story called An Unfinished Race, and by short story I mean literally 3 paragraphs. Was Ambrose Bierce just retelling a true account in short story form? Or was it all just a hoax based on his story that was fiction? In a somewhat ironic and strange twist to this case, Ambrose Bierce himself mysteriously vanished. In October 1913, a 71-year-old Bierce took a tour of old Civil War battlefields, being an old war veteran himself. Bierce eventually joined with Pancho Villa's army when entering El Paso on the border of Mexico during its revolution. and he witnessed the Battle of Tierra Blanca. In his final letter home to a friend, Ambrose Bierce had said goodbye to him in case he was shot by Mexicans, but then nothing more was ever heard of him again. An investigation was launched, Veer's men were questioned, but Bierce had simply vanished. Despite some who claim he committed suicide at the Grand Canyon, the body of Ambrose Bierce has never been found. It seems clear that many of these spontaneous vanishings are legit. So what's going on? Are these people falling into opal portals into other realities? Did they reveal temporary glitches in time and space here on Earth? Or do you believe they're all elaborate hoaxes? Well, that's up to you to decide. Good night.